It was past midnight when Daniel found himself driving through the lonely backroads of Arizona. He was returning home after a long business trip, trying to save time by avoiding the main highway. The desert stretched endlessly on both sides, the air dry, the only sound the hum of his tires on the cracked asphalt. His phone had lost service hours ago. The only light came from his headlights slicing through the pitch-black night. Everything was fine until he saw the figure. At first, it looked like someone standing near the road, wearing something white. Daniel slowed down, thinking maybe someone's car had broken down. But as he got closer, he realized the figure wasn't moving, it was just standing there, facing away from him. Daniel rolled down his window slightly and called out, "Hey, you okay?" The person didn't respond. Something about the way they stood made him uneasy. He decided to just drive past, but as he did, his heart froze. The figure's head turned toward him, not fully, just enough to catch his eye, and even from the dim glow of his headlights, Daniel saw that the face was pale, almost gray, with hollow black eyes staring straight into him. He floored the gas pedal, his heart pounding, trying not to look in the rear-view mirror, but curiosity got the better of him. When he glanced back, the figure was gone. He thought maybe it had been a trick of the light. He drove faster, gripping the wheel, until a few miles later he noticed something strange: footprints on the dusty road ahead, illuminated by his headlights, bare footprints, and they were fresh. He slowed again, confusion mixing with fear. As the road curved, his high beams caught sight of the same white figure standing just ahead, this time facing him directly in the middle of the road. He slammed the brakes, the car screeching to a stop. His body froze, the figure's head tilted, unnaturally slow, and then it began to move toward him, not walking but gliding. Daniel screamed and hit the gas again, swerving around it, speeding into the darkness. He didn't stop until he reached a gas station miles away. When he stumbled inside, the clerk looked at him, pale and shaking. "You look like you've seen a ghost," the man said. Daniel tried to laugh it off, but when he glanced back at his car, he noticed something on the hood, a single handprint. Small, grayish, and burning cold when he touched it. The second story comes from a young woman named Emily, who was driving through the forest roads of Oregon one winter night. It was supposed to be a quiet trip home after visiting her parents. The snow was falling softly, and the road was empty. She had music playing low and her heater keeping her warm, but at around 1 a.m., she noticed something odd: a car behind her, its headlights far in the distance. At first, she didn't think much of it, but after 20 minutes, the same car was still there, never getting closer, never falling behind, just following. She tried changing lanes, slowing down, even speeding up, but the car mirrored every move. Her anxiety grew with every mile. She reached for her phone to call someone, but there was no signal. The car behind her suddenly turned off its headlights. Now only her reflection stared back at her from the dark windshield. She pressed harder on the gas, her heart pounding, trying to reach the next town. Then her headlights caught a sign that said, "Welcome to Silver Creek, 5 miles." Relief washed over her, but then the car behind her flashed its lights once, twice, 3 times. She didn't know what it meant. She tried to ignore it. Moments later, she turned a sharp bend and saw a figure lying in the middle of the road. She screamed, slamming the brakes. The car behind her stopped too, its lights still off. Emily's mind raced. She couldn't see the figure clearly through the snow, but it looked like a person sprawled across the asphalt. She was about to step out when the other car's headlights suddenly turned on, flooding the road with light. And what she saw made her blood run cold. It wasn't a person lying there, it was a dummy, stuffed with straw and old clothes, positioned to look human. Then she saw movement, 2 shadowy figures running out from the trees on either side of the road. Before she could react, the car behind her roared forward, swerving between her and the attackers, ramming one of them off the road. Emily hit the gas and sped away. In her mirror, she saw the mysterious car stop for a moment, then turn and drive in the opposite direction. She reached the safety of Silver Creek minutes later, crying and shaking. When she told the police, they went to the scene but found only one thing: the broken dummy and footprints leading back into the woods. The car that had saved her was never found. The third story is from a man named Jason, who worked as a truck driver in rural Texas. He often drove at night to make deliveries, but one route in particular always gave him chills: a long, isolated road known among locals as the Devil's Mile. It was said to be cursed, the kind of place where engines die and radios pick up strange voices. Jason didn't believe in that stuff, not until one night when he experienced it himself. It was just past 2 a.m. when his truck's radio started crackling. At first, he thought it was static, but then he heard something through the noise, a faint voice whispering his name. He froze, turning the volume down, but the voice got louder. Jason. It sounded like it was coming from inside the cab. He pulled over, heart racing, scanning the dark road outside. There was nothing. No cars, no lights, no sound except the wind. He took a deep breath, convinced it was just exhaustion. But when he looked at his passenger seat, he saw something that made his blood turn cold. The seatbelt was buckled. Jason had been driving alone. He unbuckled it quickly, trying to calm down, when his radio flickered again. This time it played an old country song, distorted and echoing, even though the dial showed no signal. Then the headlights dimmed, the engine sputtered, and from the corner of his eye he saw movement in the side mirror, someone standing just behind the truck. He froze. The shape didn't move, didn't flinch, just stood there in the darkness. He turned off the lights and held his breath. After a minute of silence, he reached for his flashlight and stepped out, shining it behind the truck. There was nothing there, but when he climbed back inside, he saw fresh muddy footprints on the floor, footprints leading from the passenger door to the driver's seat. His radio crackled again, and this time the whisper came clearer than ever. "You shouldn't have stopped." Jason floored the gas pedal, speeding down the dark road, shaking uncontrollably. He didn't stop until sunrise. When he reached the next town, he checked his truck's exterior. The back doors were covered in deep scratches, as if someone had been trying to claw their way in. To this day, he refuses to drive that route again. Locals still say they hear whispers on that road, even when their radios are off. Some believe it's the spirit of a hitchhiker who died there decades ago. Others say it's something older, something that follows anyone who dares stop on the Devil's Mile. All three of these stories remind us that the night hides things we can't always explain. The road seems harmless during the day, but when darkness falls and the world grows silent, you never know what's out there watching. Maybe it's just your mind playing tricks, or maybe it's something else entirely. So next time you find yourself driving down a lonely road at night, with nothing but your headlights and the hum of your engine to keep you company, remember these stories. Keep your eyes on the road. Don't stop for anything, and if you ever see a figure standing still in the middle of the night, whatever you do, don't slow down. If you enjoyed these stories and want to hear more real-life horror experiences like this, make sure to subscribe and join us again next time, because the next story might just make you afraid of the night forever.